You're sitting in a car, not your own, someone else's. Gray, unremarkable, no distinguishing marks. The engine is off. On the passenger seat, a backpack, plain, black, the kind a college kid carries. You don't know what's inside. You're not supposed to know. In 4 minutes, you'll step out, walk 200 yards to the entrance, take the elevator to the 4th floor, leave the backpack at the door of apartment 412, and walk away. For this, you'll be paid $800 in cash tonight. You glance at the dashboard clock, 3 minutes, 40 seconds. And for the first time in this entire month, a single thought catches you off guard. You don't know if you'll walk out of that building alive. Let's rewind. 2 months back. You're 31, not an addict, not a criminal, not some street kid with nothing to lose. You have a college degree, an unfinished master's thesis, an ex-girlfriend who left 6 months ago, and $24,000 in student loans you should have paid off 3 years ago. You work at a small logistics company outside the city. Take home about $3,200 a month. After rent, the car payment, insurance, the loan minimum, and utilities, you have about $90 left for food. You eat ramen, not because you like it, because it's 88 cents a pack at Walmart, and you can stretch 2 of them into a meal if you add an egg. And then, one evening, scrolling Reddit on your couch, you get a DM. Not on a dating app, not in some sketchy Telegram group. It comes straight to your inbox, an unknown username, a handle of random letters, no profile picture. Courier work, $500 to $1,500 per run, no schedule, no paperwork. You block it. You delete it. You're not stupid. 3 days later, the same account messages you again, this time with a name. Not a username, your name. First name, last name, the city you live in, the neighborhood, and the company you work for. Think it over. You block it again. You don't sleep that night. The next day, you message first. They explain the setup simply. They tell you exactly what you want to hear. No drugs, no weapons, documents, envelopes, sometimes electronics, sometimes things that don't concern you. The main rule, you never open the backpack. Never, under any circumstances. If you open the backpack, you don't work anymore. They don't say what happens if you do. They don't have to. The first job is nothing. You drive to a strip mall, take a package from a guy in a tracksuit, drive it across town, hand it to a woman around 50. She doesn't even look at you. She closes the door. An hour later, $400 hits your Cash App. You sit in your kitchen, staring at the $400, and you do the math. You just made a week's salary in 2 hours. And nobody saw you, and nobody will ever know. You order DoorDash. Not ramen, steak. The second job, 5 days later. The third, 2 days after that. The fourth, the next day. You start to notice things. The addresses are always different, but the people are all the same type. They don't look like criminals. They look tired. They all have the same expression, not fear, not aggression, something else, something third. For a long time, you can't find the word. Then you find it. It's resignation. You see resignation in the man who hands you a package in a stairwell of a rundown complex on the south side, in the woman who takes the backpack on the doorstep of a 4,000 square foot house in the suburbs, in the guy your age who waits for you behind a Shell station at midnight and never lifts his eyes. They all know something you don't. On the 7th job, you see a gun for the first time. Not yours, the man you delivered to. He opens the door, and you see, on the kitchen counter behind him, a pistol. Not a movie pistol. Black, small, worn. It's lying there the way a phone lies, or keys, just an object. The man catches your glance, says nothing, closes the door. You walk back to the car and realize your hands are shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline. And somewhere on that walk between the apartment and the parking lot, a thought catches you. A thought you don't want to think. You like it. Not the money, not the backpack, not the risk. You like that you finally feel alive. A month goes by. You quit your day job. You pay off $6 grand on the loan. You buy yourself things you've never bought. Sony headphones for $350, a pair of decent boots, a watch. Not a Rolex, but real. You call your mother in Ohio. You tell her everything's fine, that you got a promotion. She cries on the phone and tells you she's been praying for you. You hang up. You sit there for 20 minutes without moving. On the 12th job, everything goes wrong. You drive to the address, apartment complex on the north side, Building C, second floor, Unit 208. You knock. No one answers. You knock again. Silence. You text the coordinator. He answers in 30 seconds. Wait, don't leave. You wait. 5 minutes, 10, 15. And then you do the thing you swore you'd never do. You don't open the backpack. You weigh it. You just lift it in your hands. You feel it. The backpack is heavy. Too heavy for documents, too light for electronics, and something inside it shifts when you move it. Slowly, densely, like water in a sealed bottle. Only it's not water. You set the backpack down on the concrete, very carefully. And then the door opens. It's not the man you were supposed to deliver to. It's a woman, about 60, in a bathrobe. She looks at you, then at the backpack, then back at you, and she says one word. Leave. You leave, with the backpack. In the car, you text the coordinator. He doesn't answer for 2 hours. When he answers, he sends a new address, across the entire metro area, and one line. Don't open it. Ever. You drive across the city, at night, on the empty interstate. You hold it at exactly 60. You don't know why, you just feel that you can't go faster. You arrive. It's a rural road, an old farmhouse, a wire fence, one bulb burning over the porch. A man meets you in the driveway. He says nothing, takes the backpack, walks inside. You stand by the car. You wait. 4 minutes later, he comes out. In his hand, an envelope, thick. He hands it to you. And for the first time in all of this, one of them looks you in the eye. He says, "Good, you didn't open it." Inside the envelope, $3,000, 4 times your usual rate. You drive home. You don't remember the road. After that night, something shifts. The coordinator messages more often. There's more work. The amounts go up. You're no longer a backup courier. You're verified. And this is where it starts, the thing you don't understand. On the passenger seat, a backpack. 3 minutes, 40 seconds till you step out. The building you have to enter, an ordinary 4-story apartment complex on the edge of town. Building B, 4th floor, apartment 412. But something is wrong. You can't explain what. The coordinator wrote everything as usual, the address as usual. The amount is even less than usual, $800. That's the first thing that bothers you. They pay less when the job is simple. This job doesn't look simple. The second thing, the car. They've never given you a car. Backpack on one shoulder. You walk those 200 yards. You count the steps. On the 140th, you understand. Up there, 4th floor, apartment 412. Someone is waiting. Not for a package. Someone is waiting for you. You are the package. You enter the building. The elevator is broken. You take the stairs. 4 flights. On the second, you hear a door open above you. On the third, you hear it close. On the fourth, you stand alone on the landing. Apartment 412. An ordinary metal door, dark. You set the backpack on the welcome mat, just like you were told. You turn around. You start walking back down. You don't make it past the 3rd floor. They find you 11 days later in a wooded area off Interstate 75. No wallet, no phone, no backpack. The coordinator's account will be deleted that same night. The Honda will turn out to have been reported stolen the previous spring. Apartment 412 in that building will not exist. There's 411 and 413 with a maintenance closet between them. The woman in the bathrobe from the 12th job will also vanish. The leasing office will say no one had been renting that unit for over a year. You'll be buried by the county. Your mother will find out 4 months later when the notification reaches her old address in Ohio. She will keep looking for you for 2 more years. She will keep believing that you're alive and just stopped calling. The student loan will be discharged after 7 years of non-payment. And here's what matters. You weren't a victim of chance. You weren't in the wrong place at the wrong time. You were chosen on the very first day. The day you answered the message. You were calculated from the very beginning. Your debt, your loneliness, your mother in Ohio, the one you called on Sundays. They gave you 12 jobs not so you could earn. They gave you 12 jobs so you would get used to it, so you would stop being afraid, so that on the 13th, you would get into someone else's car and walk into someone else's building without asking questions. You weren't a courier. You were a disposable from the first minute. They don't recruit criminals. Criminals are careful. They recruit people like you, educated, tired, with student debt, with ramen for dinner, with an ex-girlfriend and a mother in another state. People who think they're in control because they know how to read the fine print. There was fine print. You signed it the night you answered the message. They just didn't show you the terms. On the internet right now, while you're watching this, someone is getting their first message. An unknown account, a handle of random letters. Courier work, $500 to $1,500 per run. He'll block it. 3 days later, they'll write again, with his name. And about 2 months later, they'll find him in a wooded area off some interstate. This isn't a horror story. This is a business. It has revenue, it has overhead, it has turnover. Couriers aren't hired, they're processed. One person walks the entire path in 6 to 10 weeks. After that, they need a new one. There are enough of them. There are always enough. Because every other person around you has a debt he can't carry. And a night when he scrolls his feed and sees a message from an unknown account. And the only thing that separates him from the one in the wooded area off the interstate is that for now, he still presses block. For now.